Deo, you're joining us again, mate. Thanks for coming back on the show. Look, it's 5 and 6-0 every week. How long is it going to continue at Arsenal?
Till the end of the season. Every game after this. Man City 5-0. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, honestly, look, why not? Why not think that way anyways in the first place? And then if you go there and get a 1-1 draw, great. But you might as well go in there thinking, look, this is what we're going to do to you. Like, there's no point in going. If you're going to go into battle, go into battle. And that's what I like that the boys are doing now. I mean, if you look at how Arteta has set the team up, I looked at the lineup today when the lineup came out, and I was like, Havertz in the middle again. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. But here we are killing teams, literally just destroying teams. Like in the first half, after 3-0, I was like, you know what? The game is over. I don't have to stress no more. Let me just go back to my meetings. And I had the game running, and I just went back to my meetings because I was that comfortable. Like that comfortable. So I'm not afraid of Man City or what they bring. Neither am I afraid of Liverpool and what they're going to bring as well. They're amazing teams. They have amazing players. They have two of the best coaches in the world. I mean, top 2 coaches in the world. I don't take anything away from them. But I refuse to believe that people keep saying things like, for example, Arsenal has to prove it. They have to prove it. Last year, they fell off. Last year, nobody even gave us the chance to be there in the first place. They said we're not going to make top 6. And the fact that we were pushing against Man City last year, now it's like, oh, if you don't win, then you're a failure. Now this year, they wanted the same rhetoric. I'm not buying that rhetoric. I don't buy into all those games. You didn't give me a chance last year, and then I got there, and then all of a sudden now you're saying, oh, and then this season you're like, well, Pep is the best coach, but if you don't win it, if Pep is the best coach, then why are you asking me to win it? All I know is my team is doing great, and my coach, this is probably going to be his I think his 5th year as a senior manager. 5 years experience. 5 years. Mikel Arteta has not been in the game for 10. He's not been in the game for 20. He's been there for 5 years. He literally was at Man City for 2 or 3 years as an assistant coach. And you have to ask yourself, why did Pep pick a player who was just retiring to be his assistant? Pep, the best coach at the time in the game, had multiple coaches worldwide, but picked that one guy. There's a reason. There's something that he saw in him. So we getting him back to come to Arsenal and do what he's done in this last 4 years, dude, I'm gassed. I am gassed. Like, if anybody tries to say, I've been saying this, like, last time I said it, remember I said this last time I was on, we're beating City. We're going to beat City. We don't have an option. If we want to win the league, we have to beat them. I don't care if they go and they draw with Liverpool, or if they go and they beat Liverpool, or if Liverpool beats them. Whatever the case is, we have to beat City to home and away this season if we want to stand the chance of winning the league. Because right now this is the second time in the history of the Premier League that we've had 3 teams above 60 points in February. We've never had this. This is the second time. So you need to go back and look and realize that the only way for us to win this league this season, apart from all these blowing teams away, when we get to where City and Liverpool are, we just have to kill them.
I think you talk a lot of sense there in terms of having to beat them when you come up against them. Matt, when you look at Arsenal now, do you feel like you've joined the club when it comes to the way, typically speaking, City and Liverpool either dismantle or beat the smaller teams? Anyone that's sort of outside the sort of top 7, top 8, it seems like you've just got into that habit over the last 12 to 18 months of beating them. Now you're absolutely smashing them. You really are playing like one of the best teams in the world.
I just don't see us dropping any points. Like that City game is probably the only game that you could probably say potentially. But other than that, I don't see us dropping any points. And we've got Tottenham away and we've got Man United away. But I don't see us losing or even drawing in those games. I don't, because how we're playing, it's just incredible. And this stat that I found absolutely crazy is that in 2024, Arsenal have scored more away goals than Man United's whole season in the Premier League. Like, that's ridiculous.
Well, you've scored 31 goals. We've only scored in your last 7 games. We've only scored 37 goals all season.
Oh, well, that's false then. But I mean, still 31 goals is absolutely crazy, and considering that's away form, that's ridiculous.
I wouldn't compare yourself to us. We're rubbish. You want to compare yourself to proper teams, mate, right?
Fuck home games. Fuck home games. Away games is literally the shit. For some reason, away games, we just fucking click. Right? Home games, yeah, we beat Newcastle 4-1. But, I mean, like our away form is ridiculous. I've never seen this before from Arsenal. Like we just
you have never done this before. It's
literally
in terms of the goals you've scored. Wenger's teams never did it. The 3 away wins on the bounce you've had never been done before by your club. And this is why, look, by the way, you've played away from home against some crap teams before. So any rivals that say it's because it's rubbish teams, well, why didn't world-class Arsenal teams in the past do this? Because it isn't that easy. It really isn't that easy to do what Arsenal have done. Maybe the Sheffield United game, because it's the third game on the bounce, have conceded these goals, but it isn't just like it happened today. This has been going on now for getting towards 2.5 months. Of this year. Dennis, another stellar performance. Who are the individuals that really stood out for you today?
Yeah, fantastic performance. I think, to be honest, the easiest game I've had in my lifetime as an Arsenal fan in the Premier League. I couldn't believe it. I mean, individuals-wise, I think you have to point towards Ødegaard. Martinelli, I thought, was really good as well. Hopefully, he's not out long-term. I hope that was just like an impact injury and he's back into it. I'm just bemused at how bad Sheffield United were. Genuinely, now, I know coming up against Arsenal is not an easy game, especially right now with the form we're in. But surely on the training ground, you go, we stop Ødegaard getting that football because he's the metronome. He's the one that makes everything click for us. But they didn't seem to do that. They just let Ødegaard have free roam all over the pitch, and he made them pay. Like he was just drifting areas left, right, centre, and he was just pulling the strings all day, every day. And look, Sheffield United going down for an absolute fact. I'm delighted with the way we hit them from minute 1 because I know it was an easy game. But it's all good saying it's an easy game. Going into the game, everyone's predicting high-scoring game for Arsenal, but we got the job done, and that was the absolute main thing. Long may it continue. We're in flow state right now. I heard the point. The guy before me was saying that he doesn't see us dropping points. I think that's very easy to say right now, given the form we're in. But football changes very quickly. I mean, a few months ago, I didn't see us. We were in really good form. Then we lost to West Ham out of completely nowhere. Then lost to Fulham again. So I think right now, just while we're in flow state, keep it going, man. Just everyone's on form. We're not getting injuries right now, knock wood. So keep going on form. The litmus test is Man City. The end of March is massive for us. Porto, Man City. We've got a big gap between those two games. We might even go away again. might as well hit up Dubai again, get some more warm weather training, then come back for the Man City game. But yeah, that game's massive. Despite how we're playing right now, I would still take a point at the Etihad. I'll be completely honest. Because if we get 4 points this season against Liverpool and Man City, then for us, it's in our hands. It's in our hands at that point. Because we've already got 4 points against Liverpool this season. If we get even a point at the Etihad, that's it. That's our job done in my eyes. You deal with the rest of the games as it comes. So for me, I think we've done really well right now. This game was, again, fantastic. Goals from all areas. Long may it continue. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because it's only a good first 2 and 4 days month for the season or the calendar year so far. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from us. I'm liking how we're hitting form going towards the end of the season now, rather than last year where we're hitting form at the start of the season, then falling off. So we're building right now, which is really what I like to see.
What I would say about that is that if we draw against Man City, there is still a slight chance that, and win all of our games, apart from that Etihad game, there is still a chance that we don't win the league. Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, but at that point, you go, well done to them. At that point, at the start of the season, you said 4 points against Man City, 4 points against Liverpool. They're your 2 title challengers. Every Arsenal fan is snapping their hands.
Do you know what? Yeah, you're not going to... Yeah, do you know... Again, it's easy for me to say this. I'm not an Arsenal fan. If you go away to the Etihad and get a point, and then you pretty much win every game for the remainder of the season, and one of the other 2 teams pips you to it, again, Standard FC will say that's failure. I don't think in the context of football that's one of those things where you're disappointed not to win. But it's like I said in my kind of opening monologue, this Arsenal team is here to stay. This Arsenal team, I don't see a big collapse to a point where most Arsenal fans are going to say sack the manager. I don't see your season ending in that way where you say this person is going to definitely make us better. Because all the managers in the world that you could genuinely say are better than Arteta, Arsenal can't get or are unavailable. So because they're unavailable. So I think you guys are going to be there or thereabouts. I want to go to some of these super chats and throw them across to you guys on the panel this evening. This says Havertz has more open play goals than Palmer and Rashford. How many has he got now? How many has he got now? Is it 7?
5.
I know
I think it's 5 in the league.
And
No, it's 6. Oh, yeah.
No,
No, it's 6.
6.
Yeah,
I
Well,
think.
Rashford's got 6. Rashford's got 6. But anyway, I'm not flexing Rashford's numbers this year because
Rashford got a penalty.
did he? I don't remember. I just honestly don't care. I'm not. Yeah, look, Kai Havertz. I said this. I'm so annoyed with my class. I don't want to speak about
I
it.
was like, I don't care, bro. I don't
As I
care.
actually sit here with something Man United related on for the first time in years. My kids bought it for me. It's not from Man United though. It's from Art of Football, so they make no money out of it. I'm just putting it out there. But like Kai Havertz, I'm not saying he's turning into Zinedine Zidane. But he certainly starts to looking like a more influential and potent player for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I
He's
said
a
something.
player that we
Zidane.
thought he was gonna be.
I said something a few weeks back about on the terrace on when I've come on here, and I said he's a Swiss Army knife. If you look at what's happened today, we played him up top, and then in the second half, when we brought on Jesus, when we brought on Trossard as well, he then moved into the 8, and he's a jack of all trades in terms of he gives the manager some flexibility, and he's a body that can cover different roles. And I know there's a huge price tag being attached to Kai Havertz, and understandably with that comes expectation. However, if you look at what he gives the manager, which is versatility, and I think it's something that I've seen in both Arteta and Pep, they like players that can cover different positions. They very rarely sign a player that's just rigid to one position. They like players that are quite flexible and therefore can be utilised, quite frequently throughout the squad. And I think that is exactly what Havertz is for Arteta and Arsenal.
He's physical as well, and he's tall.
Yeah.
He wins all of his duels as well.
Bro,
He's very physical. He's very physical.
I think if we just look at this, yeah, what we're seeing now from Havertz, yeah, is he's becoming an Arsenal player. Yeah, he had to get out of that because I didn't want to believe it at first. I was like, bro, this guy looks legit broken. But as I'm seeing him just get reinstated with that Arsenal mindset of we have to play silky football, you have to be involved in the ball. You have to be involved in the football. You have to be involved in the build-up play. You have to be silky on the ball, and you have to pass very well. It's got to be nice and cool and composed. He's becoming an Arsenal player. We just need to get him to a level where he's an Arsenal player and he's competitive, which I think at the moment he's on an upper trajectory, to be honest, for me.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, yeah, confidence is a massive thing in football. I mean, I've seen Papa Cisse come in at Newcastle and look like he's going to be some star striker for 6 months, and then confidence goes, and then he looks a shell of a player. And we've seen it. There's numerous examples when a player is confident, when a player is feeling himself. There is a different. You can see it, they have a different aura about them, and they feel wanted, and they have that ability to express themselves. Whereas, at Chelsea, after struggling for so long, both individually and the club as a whole, he came to us broken. He was a shell of the player that he was at Leverkusen. And slowly, as the season has kind of progressed, we're seeing a more accomplished player, a more confident player. And if we can get him, feeling a more part of the squad, we can build up that confidence. There can, be better performances that come along with it and more contribution. So long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, confidence is one thing. Another thing is players grow into a club culture. And that's why I like what Arteta has done. If the club culture was still horrible, regardless of the player, they're going to grow into that culture. Look at Aubameyang. Aubameyang was amazing when he first came to Arsenal, but his attitude began to change because the culture and the club was already dead. And what Arteta first did in the first 2 years was to reenact the connection with the fans, give us something to hope for. He won the FA Cup in his first 6 months, fine, with the team that we all hated so much, that Unai Emery built. He went on to win the Community Shield with that same ragged team, because I call them ragged. And then he took that same team and started bringing in his little pieces, right? And the fans began to see, like, look at how we're playing. And then comes last season where they said, Arsenal cannot make it into top 4. And here we were challenging for the title last season. So now he's created that new culture in the club. So anybody you bring into the club at that point in time, look, you can bring somebody who can be the most broken player. You most likely would get him up at least 20, 25%. Now, Kai Havertz is a brilliant player. Coming from Leverkusen, to look at what his career has been at 17 all the way till he got to Chelsea. The culture in Chelsea was what killed, or what literally shadowed that man. When he did join Arsenal, let's be honest, his first few games didn't pass the eye test, but his work rate, he was winning more duels than a lot of players on the pitch. But we didn't want to see that. We said, this is not why we bought you. But why? Because the past shadow of Chelsea's culture was covering everything that he was. So now he's growing into the Arsenal culture. There's Arsenal songs for you now. You're beginning to feel a part of a family, part of a team that wants to win something. I watched the Mikel Arteta interview, and he made a statement. He says their bellies are empty. He says they're hungry. Their bellies are empty. You see, where I come from, when they say your belly is empty, it means that even if a lion shows up, you're not afraid to fight it because you have to eat. And that's the way I feel about this club right now. I've been watching Arsenal since like Kanu Nwankwo, because I'm Nigerian and he played for Arsenal, and way before that. And I've just seen how the club has gone from here to there. You know, from here all the way down. And I'm like, we're going back to the top.
And he's only a handful of. Listen, I mean, there's a lot more to footballers than goals. I understand that, but he's on 7 in the Prem, 8 in all competitions. That season before he joined Chelsea, when everyone was raving about him, I think he got 12 goals in the Bundesliga. He could. It's not inconceivable that he scores another 6 or 7 more goals this year for you, and then suddenly it's his best goal scoring season in his career. And if that ends up, if those goals, and he's had a couple of really important goals and winners, he has a few more of that to the mix. And for year one, remember, a player doesn't have to repay their price tag in 1 year. For year one, it's not a bad return on investment for a player that was so maligned.
Yeah.